Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about what happens when two stan communities butt heads, when they crash into each other. It's a train wreck.
It is.
It is a train wreck. Yeah, we're going to talk about the Hazbin Hotel community and the FNAF, the Five Nights at Freddy's community, hitting each other head on in a collision because the creators did some things, said some things that other people didn't agree with, and now we've got people getting doxxed, and it's a mess. It's a mess. We're gonna talk about that. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We are over 200,000 subs. I think officially, because we're a couple hundred over that. So thank you for the support. We're still coming up with a game plan as to what to do to celebrate.
Sorry, I'm distracted by this orange woman trending. I don't know what that is.
Orange women, okay.
Technically, I think it's probably something to do with orange man bad, but technically I would be an orange woman because my hair is orange.
Thought we're talking about people in Florida with really bad tans.
I'm like, you have to be careful of that, guys, because like, you know, when you have a hashtag like that, because there are women like me who have orange hair that have nothing to do with anything. So anyway.
All right, so let's talk about this. So Vivziepop, who is the creator of Hazbin Hotel, which is incredibly popular and has a stan community, of course, because all of these cartoon shows that are popular have stan communities.
That's what, yes.
I have to give her props because she did a pilot herself on YouTube. Well, she had a team, obviously, but they put it out there. It got picked up. Now it's going to be on a streamer or TV or something. So
it's a case of what we keep saying. If you want something and you see a need for it and you can't get picked up on your own, you do it yourself.
Right.
That's what we've been talking about. So she did what we actually tell people to do.
And she was successful at it, right? But she made some comments about Scott Cawthon. Okay, Scott Cawthon, the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, who was recently, I guess, canceled. People said he's not canceled. I think he's absolutely canceled. They're like, well, he just retired. I'm like,
I don't think so. He went from I'm not backing down to I'm retiring. There's a big jump there. Something happened to happen in between. And it might have been a matter of, well, it'll be a real shame if, your game doesn't get picked up or if your people get fired.
Yeah. Well, his wife that's what we're going to talk about. His wife was getting threats. He got doxxed, I guess. His home address was out there. Lots of people upset that Scott Cawthon financially backed Donald Trump and other Republicans, that he came out as a Christian, which he's said for years.
Who weren't Republicans too, but they don't mention that.
So he absolutely, positively got canceled. Everybody tries to make excuses like, oh, he just retired. I'm like, yeah, well, he wouldn't have quote unquote retired as quickly as he did if his wife wasn't getting threats.
Well, and the thing is, even if he did what he was thinking of retiring and this has pushed him into it, it wasn't because he just chose to do it, So he got doxxed, right? People didn't like Scott Cawthon. That, I guess, led to his cancellation. So Vivziepop, the creator of Hazbin Hotel, I guess this is the tweet that caused people to dox her. And again, and that's what we really want to talk about, is do not agree with doxing or any of this nonsense. Doxing's never okay. I don't care what side you're on. This is bullshit. Do not do this. Behave better. 100%. I don't care if someone says something I don't agree with. I don't ever think doxing them is the answer.
No, never. Somebody could really get hurt. And I'm sorry. I mean, it seems, I think people are detached from reality because they're just looking at tweets and Facebook
right. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Keyboard warriors,
right? Who
would not do this, to someone's face, or the real world consequences don't register with them.
And there are real world consequences. People get hurt. People have their lives destroyed, and it's not a game. Anyway, she said the best part to me. And I think she took this tweet down, but she said the best part to me is he lists all this shit, he being Scott Cawthon, but considering Republican politics, he's basically saying that his Christian and pro-life stance outweighs his stance on science and equality and everything else that they actively work against.
Okay, I do want to say one thing. I love how people bring up science all the time, but I have yet to meet anyone, for the most part, that sits there and says that believe the science, who actually believes the science on everything.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna flat out say it. Like, you hear people all the time, they're very selective about what science to believe. And it's like, the one breath they're like, well, you have to believe this because the science says. And the next breath they're like, well, you know, it's that way because I say so. And and so you have to be careful when you get into that science bull crap, because, you know, I have yet to meet anyone who, people are going to believe what they want to believe. And if it backs what they believe, they're so quick to point it out. If it doesn't, they just step over it.
It's confirmation bias. It's the same with anything. It's the same with news. That's why news is so polarized now, because people don't want objective reporting.
They don't want to learn.
No, they want somebody to agree with them and validate them and get that aha, we were right, you know, moment. That's what people want now. And it's sad because you can play into that very easily, and I think a lot of media outlets play into that.
And you know, I gotta tell you, as someone who sits in the middle and watches all this shit on both sides, I've seen Republican politics. Well, I've seen some Democrat politics that basically that they're saying that their ideals outweigh, you know, other real world applications of what, you know, what is true and what isn't. I've seen it the exact same way. You can argue it on either side. So just like, well, because he's a Republican. Well, just because you're Democrat doesn't mean you're right either.
So Vivziepop, she was canceled last year because of something, I think, a year before, yeah. As I remember, there's something in Hazbin Hotel that did not play right to the LGBTQ community, which she is actually part of. But I think she made a joke that fell flat.
Well, you're not allowed to make jokes. Even if you're poking fun at yourself, you're not allowed to do that, because everybody's offended by everything.
Right. So she was actually on the receiving end of, cancel culture, and she said she doesn't agree with it.
I don't either. I agree with her. I don't agree with cancel culture.
Now, I don't think she was calling for Scott Cawthon to be canceled. Just
no,
that she
this
was
is her opinion on it.
Right. So then this leads to, wow. So I replied to a tweet my friend made with a hot take about Scott's statement. Now I have been doxxed.
So she even just made it to her friend. It wasn't like, you know.
She put a statement out there like, why I abhor Scott Cawthon and think he should go.
Right.
You know, wherever.
This is somewhere else. Come on, people. This is ridiculous. Just stop. Well, first of all, my next thing is, if you're on Twitter, what do you expect? But just stop. Doxing is never okay. It accomplishes nothing. Stop behaving in such a childish manner.
Yeah. This is wrong. Just all the way around. It's
well, here,
wrong.
I'll read the rest. It's like, you effers happy now? Actually, F you. Look who the hypocrite now. Effing hell. Don't you dare act like you have the moral high ground over me. No, none of you do. When you behave this way, y'all don't have the moral high ground. You're not, that doesn't prove your point. It just makes y'all look bad.
Yeah, so they don't get hurt. Those addresses are not where I live anymore. Hope y'all take a look in the mirror to see if kicking someone down and doxing them is okay with someone you don't like.
Yes, but you know what? She was fine with. She was kind of fine with it when she was making the comments. I'm just saying, but you know what? On either side, don't do this.
Don't do it. And that's actually what led to this tweet, which I retweeted. Got a lot of mileage here. Lilith, love it. Vivziepop shouldn't have been doxxed. Scott Cawthon shouldn't have been doxxed.
No.
Don't post people's info just because they have opinions you disagree with. Doxers are full-on scum, no matter their political persuasion.
Yes.
I completely agree with this. This is a pretty new-ish development, and we've seen it, you know, firsthand with some people that, like, it's not enough to just get into a fight with somebody online. You try to drag it into the real world. You try to get people fired. You try to get them blacklisted. You try to get, people show up at their house, or creepy phone calls, or whatever. I mean, the line has definitely moved. The line has definitely been crossed. Again, this is all like bullshit Twitter outrage that people are dragging into the real world, and people do get hurt.
And that does not help when you have this going on and you have the media perpetuating it, perpetuating the divisiveness. Like Mia did, like, how many articles in a matter of like 24, 36 hours trying to just keep it going. Yeah. You have all that, and it does not help anyone. Yeah. It doesn't, and people are allowed to have different opinions than you. I am sorry. I love that. You're not allowed to have a different opinion than you, and they have a fit. But then when someone does it to them, how dare you? It's like, come on.
But this is what we're talking about. And the thing is that the casual fans, the casual supporters on both sides are going to get labeled as being like, oh my God, well, Hazbin Hotel fans did this, or Five Nights at Freddy's fans did that. And it might only be one or two or even a dozen out of millions of fans that are batshit crazy. And it could even be, and we've seen this too, where it's actually somebody sort of low key trying to help the other side, or they just want to see chaos. You know,
chaos. I think a lot of times they just want to see chaos. And here's the kicker. There's going to be all these media articles, and they're going to be like, did you see what those alt-right troll fans did to so-and-so? And it's like, like you said, we keep seeing this with all these fandoms, like a couple bad actors, everybody gets painted with a broad brush. And it's really, really getting old.
Well, it's like Star Wars. I mean, how long did they beat the Kelly Marie Tran drum?
Oh, they're still beating that drum.
Basically, if you don't like The Last Jedi, you hate Asian women, and you are an alt-right Yahtzee, and
they keep using the same damn arguments. Doesn't matter how many times it's been disproven. We do the She-Ra show too. You always hear constantly, you're this, that, or that, or the other if you didn't like it. And then it's always followed by, because the 80s shows all look the same, because the 80s shows, they look terrible, because the 80s shows were done by men, and they have this whole list of talking points that no matter how many times you disprove these talking points, they keep going back to the same damn talking points. And that's what this is, because they get this, it's more about being a hive mind than anything else. And this is a problem, but you shouldn't, blame everyone because some people behave badly. But this never should happen no matter what, in general.
Yeah, it's despicable. It's the worst behavior. I would never condone anybody doing it. I would never wish for, even my worst enemy, I would never wish for them to be doxxed. Unless there's something like potentially illegal, like
or they're going to harm somebody or something like that.
That is the only possible reason I could think of. And in that case, you work with the authorities.
Yeah, you go to the authorities. You don't put on Twitter.
Right. You don't put on Twitter.
Or Reddit or wherever.
I wouldn't even want my worst enemy to get doxxed because, you don't know what some loose cannon is going to do with that information.
If people put as much time and energy into doing things in the world to improve the world as they do into this bullshit on Twitter, the world would be a much better place.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is, it's just public info. Well, the thing is what happens is people dig it up. It might be public info, but you're spoon feeding it to crazies, hoping you're basically weaponizing.
Doing it, yes. Yeah. You're weaponizing, yes.
You're weaponizing crazy people to go do crazy things. And it's not okay. You're encouraging, secretly hoping something awful is going to happen because it's like, well, I'll scare the crap out of them. Well, it's like, yeah, it might end very, very badly. And then, how do you live with yourself for the rest of your life if something happens?
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that, people that you don't agree with, that, their information is public info. I can go find it. But why would I? I don't like what you said on Twitter, so I'm going to go find out where you live? I mean, really? I don't know. It's stupid, and neither one should be doxxed for it. And these communities need to start acting more like a community and less like, some kind of like mafia.
Yeah. Yeah. It's this is crazy. I mean, this is what we're talking about. In the last couple of years, like doxing was never much of an issue early internet. People would, talk shit on message boards or whatever, but that's pretty much where it ended. Like, I hate that guy. I'm going to block him. I'm not going to talk to him anymore, whatever. And that was it. And that's how it ended. And then sometimes you'd run into somebody at a convention or something. And they even had, like, I remember San Diego Comic-Con on the Artist Alley forum. They'd be like, who don't you like?
Some cons did that. Yes.
Yeah, so we don't sit you next to somebody you hate. And that's how they avoided altercations. Now you literally have to worry about weaponized crazy people showing up on your doorstep. Mm-hmm. Because you got into a Twitter fight. Like, what the fuck? I mean, how did things escalate? And again, I want to go back to this stan culture because that is different than fandom. Fandom is I like this thing, I like this creator, I follow it, whatever. Stans are a completely different breed. They're like, I'm obsessed with this thing, I'm obsessed with this creator. I will fight to the death or somebody else's death to defend the honor of a fictional video game franchise. Right. I mean, what the hell? Never okay. So I think we're going to wrap this one up.
Yep.
So definitely, if anybody has ever attempted to put somebody else's information out there, don't.
Just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Plus, some of these people come back on you.
Yeah.
Something happens, they're going to track it back. And then you're the one that's going to be in trouble. And it's happened to people.
It has. So don't do it. All right. So we're going to wrap it up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.